sentries and a lot of blinky boys, but if we can survive that on the side of Gerald, then there is indeed potential for a couple of long, nice matches where maybe we can even see some carriers down the line. Who knows? Know that you're the proud owner of a carrier statue as we speak, Wardy. Not jealous at all. In the top left side of Romanticide, we're looking at the main base of our Polish Protoss. He's made it into the playoffs all 3 seasons last year. It's do or die for him. He needs a victory here today. This is Gerald.
Taking on in the bottom right hand side, the red Protoss player. It is ShoWTimE. You know, Roddy, with the amount of times you talk about that carrier, I really wonder if you're going to lose viewership once you get it, because people are just not going to be interested in your stream anymore. You know, it's been a big story over the last year.
What if I just say that I'll never get it? I'm still waiting, guys. Everybody else has them. All the 500 or 404 have been sent out, and Roddy is still just patiently waiting.
And then you get the conspiracy theorists, man. It's like, did he ever order a carrier? This might be a thing. Was it all a ruse for my Prime sub?
Did Roddy betray all of us? I mean, you never know. Maybe just one day I'll paint my battle cruiser yellow and it's like, guys, I've got it.
No one will notice, I'm sure. Just blur the background a bit, I'll be fine.
Yeah. I'll just take Todd's camera and they will never be able to tell the difference.
Okay, well, unfortunately for us, there's not much happening at the start of the PvP to talk about too much. It's going to be double gateway each. So first 2 minutes playing out pretty much as you'd expect. Of course, right now we get 2 stalkers each. That's the first real decision that these guys make once they decide to go double gate.
Currently, while we were busy casting here Marine versus Skillless, MaxPax managed to get another 2-0 today. I think he played against Braddock, if I recall that correctly. So well done by MaxiPaxi. What a season he's been having. We hyped him up, Wardy. We said, all right, this is it, mate. Last year, you got all the hype and the love from the fans. But it's normal that he wasn't quite ready for the big leagues yet. This season, we came in with high hopes for MaxiPaxi. And we all kind of said that he should at least make the playoffs, but potentially even have a decent run in the playoffs. Well, he's living up to that hype. 5-0, 10-0 in the DreamHack SC2 Mass this summer. Doesn't get any better than that, literally.
No, he could not have had a better run so far. And that includes the winner for ShoWTimE already. So it's not like he's not been playing the people at the top here. He has absolutely been doing that. So, yeah, going to be a continued fight for that first place in this group, because I believe he still has to play against Hero Maroon, right? So that'll be an exciting matchup in the coming days. As we do continue to see expansions here in this PvP. I mean, honestly, when you put Gerald and ShoWTimE together, I do oftentimes expect this to at least get to 10 minutes, because they're not the kind of players to just go out there and to try and end the game immediately, you know?
Yeah, Gerald is doing something a little cheeky, though. He's building a pylon in the bottom left side, and that pylon screams Dark Shrine to me, because even though we were joking about carriers and battle cruisers, I did notice that Gerald fired up a sentry and an adept as unit number 3 and 4. But then he canceled them, and it's actually not, wait, what? It's a Stargate after a Twilight Council? What the hell is this? I have rarely seen this. I can only assume that he's gonna go for 2 oracles, bank them up, and just hit ShoWTimE when he's expecting it the least. And I can hardly blame ShoWTimE for it, because who on earth would ever predict 2 oracles to show up 6 minutes into the game?
Yeah, that's an absolutely wild thing to try and pull off here. I mean, if it works, then brilliant, but I mean, it's a huge investment if it doesn't pay off for you, right? It's a lot of money spent, and if you don't get damage done, you're going to be weak, and there maybe will be a timing for ShoWTimE to hit you and to get some serious damage done himself. So that'll be something to watch for. Gerald keeping ShoWTimE busy, keeping him preoccupied over here by moving those adepts around, threatening the shade in. That's obviously the right thing to be doing.
ShoWTimE has already been checking the top right side. I mean, Mr. Mauer is so good. His game sense is in general very on point. He got a great scout off in the main base, and he's like, wait, what? Like, you've got like no units at all, mate. Like, why do I have multiple sentries and you have 2 stalkers that you already had in the beginning? Where are unit number 3 and 4? Now, Gerald did a good job with at least selling the ideas like, oh, those were just adepts that I sneak to the other side of the map. But I have the feeling that ShoWTimE knows something just isn't quite adding up. Let's see if he checks the bottom left side, because he's already been very thoroughly checking the top right.
We'll see very soon what he wants to continue doing. Of course, plenty of sentry energy to send out more hallucinations. He's checking the main again. And it still just maybe doesn't quite add up, like, you know, little bits and pieces, as we do have the Adept and Stalker fighting each other. Second Oracle is about to finish, Roddy, so it is time to see if this will be a successful attack from Gerald, see if it has been a successful ruse.
I guess it will be in the end, because ShoWTimE has no units in the main base. All of his units are in the natural. This is really bizarre, guys. Now, we're obviously very familiar with double Oracle plays in PvP, but not after a Twilight Council opening, where Gerald makes it seem like everything is normal. ShoWTimE pulls his workers very quickly, but he's still gonna end up losing 6 probes by the looks of it. And both Oracle's still very healthy, but Blink is done. And if Blink is... No, Blink is almost done. Blink is so close to finishing up. Is Blink already done for Gerald? That's kind of funny that he's the one with quicker Blink.
Yeah, he had the Twilight Council faster, so he really just forewent a lot of unit production early, and just really teched in every way possible. I mean, 5-6 workers, does that really pay for it? I mean, it's obviously a good thing, but you're still behind on army supply here, a couple workers ahead. I mean, obviously the Oracles are still alive too, so you still have some more to gain from this investment.
If they stay alive for a while and maybe drop some revelations and stasis ramps, then I'll be like, you know what? This worked out. I wouldn't call it a slam dunk success at this point, but it also didn't put him behind, and then at least you get points for creativity, right?
Points for creativity. I'm not sure they count those in the DreamHack Masters, Roddy, at least not in the groups, but...
They should come on Shopify.
Maybe
we know you're
with
listening.
the tiebreakers, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, they have the same map wins and losses. However, Gerald really showed a lot of creativity, so he's going to advance.
We want more of this in the playoffs, actually. Sorry, Hero Marine, you just play too straight up. See?
Yeah, Gabe. We need more fireworks. Can you stop winning games in 5 minutes, mate? Come on.
Lots of gates coming up on either side. 4 bases coming in. We really are locking ourselves down into what looks like it could go into a bit of a later PvP, Roddy. Of course, there's still a dangerous point as 4 bases come up where one player can just show up and kind of overwhelm the other guy, but each second that passes by seems more and more likely we're going to end up in this big kind of potentially just disrupted duo further down the line.
ShoWTimE does not have a Templar Archives yet. He's gonna take another gas now, and right when I say that, he's gonna drop his. So his Templar Archives is a little bit later. I wonder if this opens the door for Gerald to potentially go for a good old A-click attack with a couple of Zealots and 2 Archons when your opponent doesn't have those Archons yet. But shield batteries are so damn good in PvP, man, because there isn't that much burst damage. It's a lot of damage over time, especially with the Zealots when they just send forward. And even if you have a few more units, a shield battery is often too much to overcome.
Yep. No, it's very difficult to break those down. You need to be able to like get on top and just shut it down. You don't want to be fighting that at all. So makes sense. As +2 upgrades finishing across the board. A bit of an advantage there from ShoWTimE, but it doesn't look like he's going to move forward to take advantage of it at all. Those Oracle's still cruising around, Roddy. Just looking to see if there's any openings, any bases they can get some worker kills on.
Maybe here at the bottom, but ShoWTimE does still have that observer, and that observer should give him the heads up that it might not just be the Oracles, it might be the entire army. Feels like Gerald was kind of thinking about the potential attack, but then he's like, nah, I mean, it's a 4-base setup. I kind of like my position at this point, and I don't think my advantage is big enough to kill ShoWTimE. I think I agree with him. And he also forgot charge by the looks of it, because he's got a crap ton of Zealots. Now the Oracles are going to dive in, and ShoWTimE is way out of position. Grabbing 4 probes, not bad. Look at the amount of energy on these bad boys, by the way.
Yeah, they can obviously come back in a few times if they find the chances. So, like I say, it's actually turned out to be pretty okay, that Oracle investment. It was a very weird way to get it going, but okay, not so bad in the end. Yeah, kind of surprised to see Gerald be, I don't want to say slow on the Dark Shrine, but you should Gerald is actually one of the players who really rushes the Dark Shrine a lot more than a lot of other people do in this matchup. So this Dark Shrine almost does feel slow in this case, which is kind of amusing in its own right.
Yep. It kind of felt that Gerald once more wanted to attack as soon as Charge was going to finish up. But right when I even started that sentence, we see that he's dropping his own row of Bane. Now he's going up to 5 bases. As he's sending the Oracles into the main, and I think that this could very well be the end of at least one Oracle, maybe both of them. The other one is going to be stuck for a while. ShoWTimE finds the Warp Prism in the bottom left. He's like, oh, it's kind of weird. And now he's going to see that there was indeed a Stargate in the bottom left too. start working on the pylon. ShoWTimE is going to have disruptors quite a bit before Gerald, but Gerald is going to try to force the fight right now. Coming in from that angle makes the batteries pretty much impossible to kill. I just don't see a way for Gerald to potentially win a fight. So I kind of like that he's not taking the fight, and he's doing something that I only see Zest ever do when we're behind in disruptors, but we are rich. Why not just rush up to triple robo, right? Why does it have to be 2 robos, Wardy? If we've got the money, why don't we just triple robo it?
Yeah, there's no unwritten rule. You can go for triple robo if you want to. No one's gonna hate you. I know half of the opponent maybe. Yeah, I mean it makes sense, right? And especially when he was definitely looking to try and attack, and I'm like, oh, I can't. So yeah, play catch up. ShoWTimE might still be a little bit too afraid to move out himself. He has maxed out ShoWTimE as the Oracle comes in, revelates. He's not much is here. We'll get a single probe extra, and that is finally the end of these dangerous duo of Oracles. There's a few zaps here from ShoWTimE. We're running around, and well, Gerald actually misses picking up one. So they're going to get by. Oh, it was up to 10-9. They're not going to do anything at all.
It is important for Gerald that he doesn't get stuck on the insane amount of zealots he has now for too long, right? Because you don't want to let ShoWTimE get 7 disruptors while you've got 56 army supply of zealots. So I don't even hate like a little bit of a weird indecisive fight there, as long as we don't end up losing all the Archons, because those are a little too pricey to just donate. But I actually think that worked out for Gerald because he was at 28 zealots, and that's just not gonna do it if ShoWTimE is sitting on 5 or 6 disruptors.
Yep, absolutely not. As you see the Stargate and the Fleet Beacon coming down, we're really starting to tack up here, aren't we? At least Shadow's try to be here, so we'll see those DTs harassing from Gerald. Maybe, just maybe, that's Gerald's way to get a whole chunk of damage done a bit further down the line still. We'll be finding out here soon exactly how it will go. That's quite a few of these DTs bottom left, and they're just going to be found by the Observer. Shadow's try just now finishes, so it's time to blink out of there. Well, they're not going to do much to begin with.
Gerald realizing that a lot of the arms plays in the bottom, so he wants to attack in the top, and he's the one who fires a Nova first. But the army that he has there is not great against cannons. This is kind of where you would like to have a couple zealots getting on top of it. Gerald's so upset that he just killed one of his own stalkers. He needs to be careful, because I still like ShoWTimE's composition just a bit more. ShoWTimE is the one who blinks forward, gets both disruptors. What a pickup by Mr. Maurer. Gets all 3 of them.
Gets all of them, but ShoWTimE's supply is dropping heavily overall. He's going to have victories rebuilding behind us as Gerald for the moment taking the supply lead. Despite the fact that all his disruptors went down, it's going to be the Zealot DT to make a play through the bottom side and to try and hit now. Going to keep ShoWTimE playing defensively at the very least.
Yeah, ShoWTimE won the fight in the top right, but I guess something bad happened to the Observer, maybe? I see one of the cannons has 2 kills in the bottom left, so what I'm going to assume happened is that ShoWTimE flew his Observer into the cannon, and because of that, all of his Zealots and the 2 Sentries and Immortals just died against the DTs. Because I feel like that fight should have never been as bad as it actually turned out to be.
Yep, I'm with you on that one as well. I don't think it should have turned out quite like that. As the Disruptor shot is going to find 2, and now it's Gerald that's starting to take a bit of a swing in this game and starting to get a little bit more done across the board.
Gerald's playing just a mighty fine PvP game 1 here. If you look at this game, you do ask yourself, how the hell did we end up 1 and 3 in this group, Gerald? Because you're clearly showing us that you still have the magic you had last year during summer, spring, or summer, fall, and winter. I don't know. Did we have a spring last year, Waddy? I don't think we did, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was summer, fall, winter.
Yeah, okay. Well, he's showing some of that magic. He's putting himself in an awkward spot now, so this is going to be very hard to execute. He's got a couple of Tempests showing up, but I almost feel like it's a bit too early for Tempest. The Dark Templars, though, are getting an absolutely amazing fight, and ShoWTimE is still the one trying to figure out how he wants to tackle this army of Gerald.
Yeah, he blinks in, though. Once these Disruptors are all on cooldown, there's not really anything to stop him from killing them. The DT stopped the Stalkers chasing forever, but the Disruptors are already dead by that point, so... Yeah, Disruptor's down. I mean, now you don't have Disruptors here, Gerald. Can you really continue to fight? I'm going to say probably not, but I guess we'll wait and see.
Nice blink. Nice blink with the DTs, otherwise he would have lost all 5 of them against that single Nova. So we're heading into Stalkers, Disruptors, and Tempest, as Gerald is also already adding the Mama ship that just finished up building. I mean... we're not finding any economic damage yet, but it does feel that Gerald is the one with all the map control. And he just kind of keeps finding ShoWTimE out of position. ShoWTimE is going to activate a battery overcharge to keep the static defenses safe. But there are more Dark Templars looking for success in the top right. And those DTs blink on a pylon. They take out one pylon, but they didn't want to continue.
They did not. DTs around here, the cannons, and push them back. I kind of find it funny that suddenly ShoWTimE shows up with Tempest. I agree with what you said before. It felt like it was too soon. Nice kills on these pylons. Not on servers there, and the Stalkers are going to get some kills themselves. I was going to say...
out of position again, though, mate. Like, look where ShoWTime's army was all the way in the bottom side. And kind of feel that Gerald just missed a little opportunity here to potentially pick off those static defenses, because ShoWTime's army was nowhere near to be found. Yeah, sorry, mate. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to talk about the Tempests and say it was kind of... Like you said it's almost too early for him, then ShoWTime shows up with the defense. It's like, well, he's got Tempest. Now we've both got Tempest. He's going to blink on forward. ShoWTime, what was that? Blink disruptors in the back available, and of course now you can't blink out of them shots. That's going to be painful. And in the bottom left, ShoWTime's prison goes down. He will have a few Zells that will stand strong, but Warpin's available, and Gerald will start to clean up.
Yep, ShoWTime has lost almost 3,000 resources more than Gerald did so far. I'm with you, that blink was very adventurous. These armies getting so close to each other, I have no idea who shot first. It seems like ShoWTime is the one who shot first. So all of his disruptors and stalkers will barely survive. What a wild and chaotic fight that was.
Yeah, actually really crazy little fight right there. These Tempests are putting some work, I'm telling you. Disruptor shot comes through again for Gerald, who blinks in, gets himself a disruptor. And he is just staying out of trouble. He's going to immediately rebuild the mothership. Any thoughts on that? And is it really that important?
I mean, it does make it very hard for ShoWTime to figure out where the disruptors are, I guess, right? Or what is even there in the first place. So he should maybe be more careful with his blinks. I don't know. It helps a little bit keeping your Tempest safe too. I'm surprised that Gerald thinks it's that important, but yeah, I mean, the man does play a lot of late game PvP, so might just be some personal preference. Well, ShoWTime just made 10 High Templar, so he's going to get 5 Archons in the mix. I find that a surprising choice too, because if I think of units that are great against Stalkers, Tempests, Disruptors, and a Mothership, I don't necessarily think of the Archon.
Yeah, that's true. Archons are just kind of slow and clunky, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. I really wonder what that's all about. I mean, it's going to be decent against this hit squad of DTs and Zealots, I guess. And maybe that's just ShoWTime's thinking. He's like, you know what? I don't want to deal with this hit squad anymore, annoying me in the bottom side. If you want to wipe in DTs and Zealots, they're going to have to fight Archons. And that's obviously 2 units that Archons do very well against.
Yep, there's Gerald. There's still the one in the center here. Obviously, it feels very dangerous at any point in time, because it almost feels like ShoWTime could almost collapse in on him and maybe take a good fight. He's going to be cleaning up some rocks, Gerald. Maybe now Gerald actually gets to collapse in on this position of ShoWTime, because ShoWtime's just out of position to the top right. How many times has ShoWTime just been in the wrong place in this game already?
Yeah, no, it's shocking to see, because ShoWTime is normally someone who's incredibly well aware of everything that's happening, but he's just out of position. And when you're out of position against Disruptors, things are very dicey. He kills both of them. Man, ShoWTime in his forward blink, some of them may not have paid off, but this one absolutely did. That was so close. And now ShoWTime is even going to come down a few of these Tempests. And what should have been a bad fight turned into a somewhat reasonable fight.
The chaos of PvP, huh? Like you say, that should have been bad, and then it actually turned out to be okay. Maybe even one of the better fights that ShoWTime's taken, considering the position his army was in to begin with there. Now ShoWTime actually has this weird scenario where he's actually up in Tempest, and the Tempests have actually been putting in some work for Gerald throughout this, so excited to see how that changes things. We do see, again, Disruptors firing away from ShoWTime. Gerald only has 1 Disrupt on the entire map, so currently working without all the tools that he kind of wants here.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if Gerald's is going to go for it here. Maybe blink all the Dark Templars forward and try to gun down the Disruptors, because the rest of the army is good. That is what he's going for, but he doesn't get all of them quite yet. But he's going to be able to pick up the most of them. 1 Nova did explode, though, in the majority of the Stalkers of Gerald. I have a hard time believing that this worked out the way that Gerald had in mind.
Yeah, I don't think he got the... I mean, there was just 1 Disruptor so far back that went for the Stalkers after they blinked, and that's just so painful. As now ShoWTime definitely starting to take a bit more of an advantage. Tell you what, Gerald still has a fair amount of money in the bank, especially mineral-wise. He's going to go blinking in again. The Disruptor does go down, and it's going to be Stalkers against Stalkers, and it almost feels as though Gerald has a few more, but overall his supply is still the one slipping.
Yeah, ShoWTime had a couple Zealots in the mix there, and normally you don't really want to have Zealots there, but those Zealots were very tanky, and that just messes the Stalkers up. Because if you ignore them, they deal too much damage. You're shooting with all your Stalkers at those few Zealots, well, then the Stalkers of ShoWTime are having a field day in the back line. ShoWTime getting a couple of excellent trades here. At one point, he lost 4,000 or 5,000 resources more in this game. Now Gerald is actually the one who lost a few more resources, and yeah, that's mostly all the Stalkers and Tempest we have donated in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. As Gerald is gonna make his way around. I mean, he's actually taken an additional base over ShoWTimE, so that's nice at least for the moment, if he can keep it up. So we'll see if he can. These armies are turning out to be very similar, just that Archon difference is going to be outstanding. So, like I said, I don't even see a lot of games go into Tempest nowadays, even in these late game PvPs.
It's so funny, right? Because Tempest are so good against Tempest, and then obviously good against Disruptors too. But they're very bad against everything else. But then everything else that's good against the Tempest is bad against the Disruptors again. So we're just kind of playing a weird little game of rock, paper, scissors, where both players are trying to end up with a slightly superior composition. But in the end, they just kind of keep ending up with the same composition. The one main difference is that Gerald has been loving their mama ships, and ShoWTimE is having none of it.
Yeah, I'm still not to be convinced by the mothership so far with these games, as Zealots and Archon's going to come around this right side, go in after the cannons. And it's actually the first time I feel like that ShoWTimE's been on top of a base of Geralt in a long time.
ShoWTimE finding one of his first openings in this game. He's been on the defensive perhaps ever since the Oracles kind of caught him off guard. Now this army is going to get chased down, but that opens an opportunity for ShoWTimE to make some magic happen in the bottom left side, and that's what he's going to do. ShoWTimE, you're kind of blocking your own army, mate. I'd like to see you be a little more decisive. Gerald canceled the mothership he was building from this Nexus because he's like, that Nexus is going to die immediately, so I'm going to build it elsewhere.
Oh, the mothership really is giving us some laps this series, isn't it? As we do see it on the way again. I mean, just trading out bases here. Gerald, you could argue, is closer to being in a more important position. Just maybe make a move to get on top of ShoWTimE's production. Not going to do that yet. Maybe afraid of a recall and getting himself stuck in a corner. But he is going to continue on for this base, and this might end up in a big army clash.
Yep, there's still little clashes happening everywhere too. A few Zealots are stuck behind this army. ShoWTimE, that's a disruptor that you need to respect. Now ShoWTimE is the one kind of flanking the army of Gerald with a few leftover Zealots and Archons, but they are making things very complicated here for the Polish Protoss.
Absolutely, as Gerald is going to be backing away. He lost 16 probes in this as well, so work count has dropped a little bit for him. Still has a bank though.
What a game. 15 Disruptors went down on the side of Gerald, 13 on the side of ShoWTimE. But ShoWTimE only lost 5 Tempests, while Gerald lost 11 Tempests and 2 monoships.
I mean, those motherships are basically worth a whole bunch of Tempests as well. I feel like the motherships just haven't done anything as well. I feel like they've just died. I know that's kind of the meme as well, but like, I really don't feel like they've done much this game.
Nope. But Gerald keeps on adding them. Maybe eventually he's going to pull off a cool move with a recall or time warp, who knows. And ShoWTimE has sent one Dark Templar to the bottom left side. It was a very successful one, as he took care of all the set of defenses before. So that DT killed a couple probes and killed the Nexus.
Nice little bonus for sure as we continue through. Another disruptor shot firing away. Units do dodge out of there. These DTs just continue to try and make their way back around, trying to find themselves a good fight, but hard to justify ever jumping on top of what is just so many Archons.
Good revelation there by ShoWTimE though, because he had no observers. So that could have been very painful if he didn't have that Oracle safely tucked in the back.
Yeah. Handle.
What a game. 24 minutes in, and I feel like it's as even as it potentially could be. It does seem that ShoWTimE's got way more upgrades now, as he's been working on these defensive air upgrades too, and even getting a regular armor upgrade. These were all upgrades that Gerald did not have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We see another disruptor shot going to fly through. Not going to try connect, and oh no, don't.
I'll say nothing, mate. I'll say nothing.
We don't need to say anything, as you do see these units still sitting around his right-hand side. I mean, definitely feels as though ShoWTimE's had a bit of a better aggressive chance in the last few minutes. Just being able to basically stay on this position. He's denied that bottom left base of Gerald as well. And now it really is working to deny these ones if he ever gets up that ramp.
Oh, is this? Oh my goodness! ShoWTimE with one disruptor gets all the disruptors of Gerald, as Gerald was busy keeping his Dark Templars alive. Oh man, that was like 1 for 5, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was just everything. I think it was like 4 or 5. And all of a sudden, your army just isn't a threat anymore as Gerald, because now there's nothing to push ShoWTimE back. There's nothing to keep him from pushing forward, and so he will move a bit more aggressively up toward the top side of this.
Yep. Gerald does have a minor Tempest lead, so now I'd like to see him just be a little more active with the Tempest as he picks up another Tempest on the side of ShoWTimE. I mean, Tempests have the longest range, so you want to put that range to use, especially if you're defending on the high ground. Anyway, that is a hero disrupted from Gerald, but ShoWTimE was paying attention and he picks it off before it actually connects with the army. Now a few more Novas going forward. This is Gerald's moment, if you ask me. These Zealots are actually very good because the Archons are not going to participate in this fight. And now ShoWTimE is the one who's losing the majority of his disruptors. What a wild PvP we are witnessing here on the Momentum side.
Absolutely crazy. I mean, it's just sort of like, you know, Gerald's able to get an army that's just better than ShoWTime's just because of composition alone. He's been able to spend his money, but now ShoWTimE is the one with a lot more money in the bank once again. He is putting it to use and he is rebuilding. Can he get units into this fight? Here come the Stalkers to start to say, yes, we can be in this fight. And boy, were they needed.
Yep, and this is where Gerald could really use just a couple Zealots, made whopping anything. He's starting to run low on money. The Tempest would have been good. He went for DTs instead, but ShoWTimE still has some observers. That final observer did just go down, but I would have preferred to see a couple Zealots there, Marty. It was mostly Zealots on the side of ShoWTimE. So ShoWTimE does pick off a lot of Tempests, but not all of them. And while that was taking place, he did end up losing a few more Tempests on his own. What a ridiculous game. I mean, Gerald is the one who's lost a few more resources. Let's just say that's all our motherships.
Absolute. Absolute of the chaos and it's probably not that far off, is it? 5 motherships. It's crazy. Yeah, no, it has been a really wonderful and weird game and very entertaining, but it does look down as though ShoWTimE is going to come out on the better side of it. And of course, that's just how good ShoWTimE is, right? And it's kind of the problem when you go up against ShoWTimE. He's really good in these scenarios, and Gerald likes playing this late game as well, but you're playing one of the very best of it.
Yep, Gerald is good at it, but ShoWTimE could very well be the best when it comes to the non-Korean protoses. I always do like Neep's late game PvP too. Like Neep ShoWTimE always gets me very excited. It did feel that Gerald had an excellent early late game, right? The army movement was brilliant, and it felt like he caught ShoWTimE with his pants down a few times, but he wasn't able to close it out. And throughout the majority of this game, it just seemed like ShoWTimE got better fights. Maybe Battery Overcharge can make some magic happen. ShoWTimE plays Protoss. He knows how good those things are. He fires another Nova, and that one too will blow up the majority of the disruptors of Gerald. And I think that we are witnessing the beginning of the end. GG! ShoWTimE wins game 1 after 28 minutes of PvP chaos, Marty. That's the best way to summon all of it up.
PvP, more like CVC. Chaos versus chaos, because it was absolutely ridiculous, man. It was just disruptor shots here, there, and everywhere. Gerald has that fight at the end when it feels like he's been losing for 5 minutes, and it almost like it gives him some hope. And like you say, maybe he warps in Zealots on the next fight, and maybe that just goes that little bit better for him. Crazy game, couldn't have asked for much more. And again, like when you put these two up against each other, this is the kind of PvP I expect out of them, especially on Romanta's side. And this time, it actually did deliver.
Yeah, you know what was really cool? When we had that crazy fight on the top where Gerald was winning and he was pushing ShoWTimE to the top right corner. ShoWTimE had quite some money in the bank and he warped in a couple Stalkers, and with a couple I mean like 8 or 9, but I was like, I actually still don't think this is good enough. So he was really patient and retreated even further until all the gates got off cooldown and he could warp in those 10 additional Stalkers. And that's when ShoWTimE said, now I think I have enough units to actually chase your army down. And yeah, I think a couple Zealots, which you don't say often, like 25 minutes into a game, a couple Zealots would have turned that fight upside down, because you can't ignore the Zealots as the Stalkers, because then they deal too much damage. But if you want to kill all those Zealots, well, then the Stalkers and the Tempest of Gerald will actually turn that battle in favor of the Polish Protoss. Just a fun game of StarCraft, the kind of stuff we want to see, and Gerald definitely played it like his tournament life was on the line. And that really is kind of still the case, because he needs a win today here, Waddy. He really needs a win.
He really, really does. He's got to cause some upsets to get out of this group, because other people are doing that, right? Max Packs winning against ShoWTimE, etc. It means there's really very little room for errors, and especially when he's already lost to someone else that's going to be competing for playoffs and skillless. You got to cause an upset now as Gerald, and well, now your back is up against the wall, so it's time to take a big swing at it. It's now or never for Gerald. It feels like there's a loss here. Might just see him out of the event.
Yep, because Skillless is 3-2, and if Gerald would lose here today, guys, he'd be 1-4. Now, of course, they could still both end up with 3 wins and 4 losses, But if they tie break, well, Skillers is the one who beat Gerald. So then Gerald basically needs a much better map score. And at this point, Skillers is 0-0, so +0, -0, whatever you want to call it. Gerald is -5, I think, at this point. That seems almost impossible to me, Waddy. He needs to win this best.
He really, really does. In the bottom left-hand side, let's see if he can get some energy. It's our Blue Protoss player, Gerald.
And in the top right side of Oxide, we're looking at the European Protoss Titan that has been having a pretty good time so far this season. Sure, he lost the best of 3 against Maxi Paxi, but that could happen to the best of us. In every other series, he looked on point. It is showtime.
Oxide, he's going to give us that low ground expansion potential, and that's what ShoWTimE plays for right from the start.
You know what? Whenever I see Oxide PvP, I think of you.
You think of me?
A while ago, I was watching your stream, and you were having one of your crazy Wardy days, you know, where you're like 12 hours in, and you're like, all right, guys, and you're trying to make the best of it, but obviously the energy is draining a little. And at one point, you're like, they were both doing the 1 gate fast spin on the low ground, and you're like, you know that people wanted to be excited over a pilot and a cybercore, and you were just sitting there like, yeah, I've actually seen this like 20,000 times, guys. We're both going to build a pilot, and then we're going to build a cybercore, we're going to build a zealot, and then we're just going to expand anyways just a little bit later. And I just had a massive smile to my face because I'm like, oh yes, I understand it, what? It's been a long day, and we're not going to get excited over a pilot and a cybercore block anymore.
I mean, I feel like that day changed me actually, because that was the day I really did stop getting excited over the 1 gate versus 1 gate blocking, you know?
Yeah.
That's when I think I just realized, you know, I have seen this just way too much now.
Now, this game, it's actually a bit different. We don't want to get super excited yet, guys, because we don't know what it means. But Gerald decided to go for the 1 gateway on the high ground. But it's still just 1 gate, so it's not your traditional double gate opening, the way we expect things to go if the map isn't Oxide. But yeah, Gerald's getting a good scout off, and he will... Oh my god, Roddy, he's building the cybercore!
Oh my goodness, it's a cybercore on his opponent's natural, Roddy!
A good scout though by Gerald, because now at least he knows that he's going up against a Stargate. Gerald has not revealed exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah. He's just slowly kind of building on up here and waiting to, I guess, drop down that Nexus, then he's going to attack from there, so... Yeah, just going to keep on building Stalkers. Obviously, ShoWTimE can't expand, but that's okay. He's going to put some money into this Stargate in a moment or so. Has the gas for the Oracle. Starts that up. That Cybercore, he's just going to be left to finish as well, so blocking for as long as possible with Gerald losing 2 folks.
Yeah. For a second, I actually didn't see there was a shield battery building on the top of the ramp. I was like, man, even if just one of them makes it into the main base, it's going to be painful. I'm starting to get a bit concerned about how late Gerald's stack is. This must be a Twilight, right? Like anything other than a Twilight would just make 0 sense.
It's probably the Stargate, Robo. Yeah, it kind of has to be Twilight and then just play like a later blink. I mean, what else can you really do there? There's Twilight going down. Yeah, everything else kind of relies too much on timing, right?
Was there no way? Look at the positioning on the Oracles. Actually, on the Stalkers, by the way. The Oracle was about to fly over them. Now, instead, Gerald's going to be out of position. He does have a battery finishing up, but if I'm ShoWTimE, I still gladly drop a stasis there and just be really annoying.
Yeah, no, I agree. Drop the stasis down. You force a pro pull, of course, and yeah, at the very least, going to catch. Well, he actually catches. I think that's 3 workers, right? There's like 2 on top of each other there on the right side, so 3 workers caught in a stasis. I mean, that's way better than it should have been.
Yep, absolutely. Especially because Gerald knew about that Stargate for a very long time. Saw it with the probe, saw it with a cybernetics core too. I'm not really feeling this for Gerald. I feel like if he would have had a much earlier Twilight, let's say he goes 1 Stalker then Twilight, sure, that'd be a bit crazy, but then it'd be like, oh yeah, we're gonna have super quick blink. Look at this, ShoWTimE is actually the one who's gonna get blink before Gerald is gonna have blink. And on top of that, we've got 2 Oracles just running Rampage in the natural. It almost seems like that first game broke Gerald a little bit, because whatever he planned in game 2, Waddy, it's just not working out at all.
It really, really is not. He is down in work because he's down in army. He just doesn't have anything going his way. I mean, at this point, he didn't even start up anything off the Twilight Council, right? He's just sitting there with the Twilight Council. Finally starts a blink, but after his opponent started.
Yep, after his opponent's blink is like 25% done, and ShoWTimE has a forge. I mean, we all know that upgrades are very important too. In the Blinky Wars, ShoWTimE is 5 workers ahead and still has the luxury of 2 oracles flying around. I mean, we're 5 minutes in, but this almost seems like an impossible game to win for Gerald. What is his best option here? To go for a 2-base all-in and hope that ShoWTimE gets too carried away with macroing? Because I don't see how we catch up in the macro department here.
He's going to shade into the natural, and actually doesn't even target fire probably with the adepts because he's focused with the oracles coming in. It's another chunk of probes going down. Gerald is once again just going to be trailing. He already was, but trailing even further now. In that work account, I don't know what his best option is. He drops a forge, but I mean, he's going to be late on blink. He's late on +1. He's just behind in every possible way in the game. There's no advantage currently standing in this game for Gerald.
Nope. What's his stalker count? Yeah, he's got 3 stalkers more, but what are you going to do with that? Run to the other side of the map when you don't have blink and your opponent does have blink? And obviously, if you send 9 stalkers to the other side of the map, you open yourself up to take way more damage of those 2 oracles. As you know, it sometimes feels a bit lame to hype up like 2 oracles staying alive and flying around, but ShoWTimE is really getting a ridiculous amount of value out of these 2 oracles that were very telegraphed. Gerald knew that there were going to be oracles, and still ShoWTimE found this amount of damage against one of the best protoses in Europe, and only tip my fedora to Mr. Mauer.
Absolutely. Just a credit to how good he can be, how consistent, and, well, yeah, looking towards that 2-0, but not going to play anything too quickly into this, right? He's just going to, oh, now there's an oracle.
No.
Twinkle.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
that's
that
just
was
the way.
That was a lucky move as well, because I feel like you had no idea which oracle was going to be pushed towards the left or the right. And somehow the guy with no HP or 4 HP is the one that gets pushed towards the right side. And I thought those stalkers would be able to catch up, but also not in range.
ShoWTimE is going to keep playing this for the kind of the longer game, right? He's not afraid to just kind of build up and then hit. So usually around like the +2 time is like a very stable time to attack, where the power of like a couple batteries can be overwhelmed a little bit more. So just kind of playing towards that instead of attacking too soon or anything.
Would you maybe like to see Dogs right now and just go ham on the DT investment and try to bring it back that way?
I'd like to see anything other than just copying what ShoWTimE is doing. That's definitely not going to work.
It's like we're gonna do the exact same thing as what you're doing. It's just that you're further ahead in every department and you will have more of my stuff. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, even if your plan wasn't to build a Dark Shrine and wasn't to gamble with a bunch of DTs, it feels like that's his best option. Instead, Gerald is still trying to catch up in the upgrades, and economically he has sort of caught up, but that's just because ShoWTimE is investing in 4 bases, and ShoWTimE is actually going to be the one maybe attacking first here. Yeah, I don't hate it, because I feel that ShoWTimE is just going to have a very big advantage. And let's not forget, as long as the oracles are alive, Gerald needs to respect that, because ShoWTimE can show up with his main army, right, at the front of Gerald's 3rd base, let's say. And then these armies look at each other, then Gerald needs to move every single unit over, and that just allows the oracles to grab 10 additional probes in the main.
Yep. Like we said before, ShoWTimE kind of has every advantage here as he moves his way around this right-hand side, and he's going to start setting up an attack in towards Gerald's base. Gerald knows it. He's going to start building a whole bunch of static defense, but does that protect you from the slightly faster charge, the +2 being done? Archon's ready to morph in as well. Actually, Gerald has an Archon at least, so that's something he's got even in this game. 1 Archon apiece. I'm not sure if that's the game changer, though.
Picks off an observer there, so that's something where I think if I'm ShoWTimE here, I just attack the naturals. Like, alright mate, if you want to build all the cannons, all the batteries at your 3rd base, I'll just run into your natural. We'll see how much you have there.
Yep. Or just peel a few units up into the natural. That works as well. Then you're going to force these units down into the kind of, the gap between the natural and the 3rd. And you can fight here away from any static defense. That's exactly what ShoWTimE wants, and he does have plenty in the natural to win out this fight. There's a cannon finish, and super battery pops in the natural as well. So, yeah, maybe it's time to just turn fully onto the army, maybe toward the 3rd base even. He's going to start blinking forward. The Zelda charging through. ShoWTimE still just has so much. Gerald backs up, and he will survive a little longer, but it is just kind of a... Well, it's kind of like a formal dance. It's a formality right now. Eventually, we know ShoWTimE is probably going to overrun.
I would have liked to see ShoWTimE be a little more decisive with diving into the natural, because I feel like he gave Gerald the opportunity to get a lot of value out of a single battery, out of a single cannon, and ShoWTimE lost perhaps a few more units than he was supposed to, but it doesn't really change the fact that ShoWTimE just has more of everything. His units are better, and they show up in bigger numbers. Gerald is trying to do whatever he can to keep his DreamHack Masters Summer playoff dreams alive, but I'm afraid that it's going to end here for Gerald for the first time. Since we started these events, the online versions, it seems like Gerald is not going to make it into the playoffs unless something incredibly crazy happens. He wins the final 2 series 2-0, 2-0. Skittles loses 2-0, 2-0. But it seems far-fetched.
Yeah, you need the fates and fortune to kind of go in your way in many different places. ShoWTimE gets an important 2-0. If he wants to compete for